Welcome to this edition of Week in Review. Together, we are outdoors today to bring you the latest updates of what's been happening here at the Loma Linda Broadcasting Network studios. And of course, we're coming to you from our administration building so we can share the California sunshine with you all across the world and the nation. So we like to start this program with the verse of the day, and Ganem has that for us. Ganem?
Marlon, my reading today from Revelation 21, it says, "And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband." What a beautiful verse. Imagine the holy city, that we, all the believers who will be part of that holy city, that it will be coming down one day, hopefully during our lifetime, where our eyes will see God's in His glory bringing that new city. All we have to, in order to be part of that city, all we got to do, believe in Jesus Christ, who died for us on the cross and was risen from death. And like so, He will grant us that resurrection and live in that holy city forever and ever.
Amen.
What a beautiful promise. Who can reject that?
This is an open question.
Certainly not I.
Well, thank you for sharing for that terrific verse. And it's our pleasure to tell you about the good news of the Holy Scripture every time we do Week in Review. So thank you for your suggestions, and thank you for your verses that you send in for us to share with all the world. Well, there's been a lot of things happening with LLBN over the last week or so, and Ganem is here to give us an update. Ganem?
Well, Marlon, there are two big changes, of course. One is I'd like to introduce our new family member, Bob. Bob, welcome.
Thank you.
Bob will be assuming many responsibilities here at LLBN. He would be handling the community relations, community outreach, part of the public relations efforts, anything and everything takes, including being a spokesman of LLBN, a role that was much needed for many years, and now we have it. And we look forward for Bob to bring his experience and, of course, good expertise into this ministry of LLBN.
Thank you very much. I feel very welcomed. And as a Christian, I felt compelled to come to Loma Linda. I am originally from back east. I came from Philadelphia to this part of the country, and I specifically wanted to settle in this area, in Loma Linda, because it represents so much of the Adventist movement and its history. I enjoy history, so I feel very privileged, actually, to be a part of the media and public relations effort of this television ministry. It's a growing ministry. It's growing in the number of channels, growing in the languages, and also in the health message. And in doing research as part of my preparation to assume my responsibilities here, I've learned a lot about this growth, from a couple of hours a day on a local cable TV channel to being covered regionally in Southern California, up on the satellite, going to digital transmission, and now multiple channels. And I want to be part of this growth, and I want to be a big part if I can, of helping spread the Lord's Word regionally, nationally, and globally.
Bob comes back with 30 years of experience in the community relation area, plus broadcasting as well.
I guess that means I'm long in tooth. But I've come out of, I came out of the corporate realm, but primarily in hospitals and healthcare, telecommunications, so all of this fits so very nicely for me. This is a new leg in my overall experience, but one I'm really champing at the bit and eager to move on with, the ministry of Jesus Christ by digital media.
Amen. Marlon, you heard Bob. I heard Bob saying something about how he felt moved or touched to or inspired to move to Loma Linda. Doesn't that tell a story of all of us, that at one point or another we didn't know why we came to Loma Linda, but the Spirit drove us to come to Loma Linda? Little to find out we're part of this alliance to broadcast the gospel of Jesus Christ through a ministry that was birthed 21 years ago that we call LLBN TV. So doesn't that sound familiar?
Well, I actually grew up here.
Okay, well, but God.
Almost more.
All right, but you came from a
You're the
walk of
exception.
life.
No, but I say that because it's interesting to see the perspective of those like Bob that come from the outside, those like you,
Right.
you know, that came from Texas and parts east. I don't know where Jay came from, but
Yeah, I've been in this area for quite a while, but the call to come to Loma Linda, you know, I had no idea what God had planned, but I definitely, when Kane first arrived here, I realized this is a place where I want to be. Yeah.
and so when you grow up in the area and attend, from academy through college, our perspective of the native Loma Lindas is a little bit different. And so I'm really glad to hear the perspective and the effect that Loma Linda has on the world. I know Bob was talking about the reputation of this area and the value of our name.
That is correct. Back east, let me assure you, and for those who are watching back east, the hallmarks and the touch point of our beliefs are more in an area like this, as well as Battle Creek, Michigan, or Oakwood in Alabama. These are areas that are known to us, and they have what I would call a cachet, which is what drove me to come to Loma Linda. I wanted to be closer to places that have a major important role in the Seventh-day Adventist movement, and I would indeed call it a movement, to be where Ellen White walked and where she practiced with her husband, publishing and writing. I'm a writer myself. That's part of our trade. That's very important when you know that history. Drove me to want to be part of it. So, and even if you're local, you could have been in commercial broadcasting, you could have worked in the electronics industry, but you came here to LLBN. And that, I think,
That is
says
true.
what I went through coming all the way from Philadelphia.
Yeah, no, exactly right. There are many of the original founders of LLBN came actually from different walks of life, whether it's a region or it's an industry. There were doctors who came and became broadcasters and helped us in this organization. There were nurses, there were community leaders, and there were people who were pure engineers and technical people, but all came from different walks of life. I, for one, it was God who pushed me. I had no idea what I'm getting into. God drew me in only to discover the journey at later time. But the beauty of LLBN is not just about us. It's the beauty about LLBN that's reaching out to people throughout the world to draw them closer to Christ and to share with them the message and the teaching of Jesus. And that's something we do 24/7 and connect all of us almost virtually and spiritually through television, where we share one common interest, the Lord and His kingdom. It's a beautiful, beautiful outreach. It's a beautiful ministry. And Bob, welcome to LLBN and for being part of the family. He would be playing a big role in the institution, from being a spokesman, representative of administration office, and that would be his full-time job, as it is with Jay. I want to share the story, if I may, just a little bit, Marlon. Most of us at LLBN have full-time jobs. We work for this beautiful Loma Linda University Medical Center. That's our source of living. That's a place where we love what we're doing daily, and that's something that we take pride in. But after hours and Sabbath and weekends, LLBN is our ministry. LLBN, where we all get together to work hard to share the word of Jesus throughout the world. And thanks to you folks, you kept us in this business for over 21 years through your generous partnership of supporting and financing the ministry of LLBN, which incidentally, Bob was completely shocked to find out how independent and self-supporting LLBN is.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
It showed me that our viewers, those who are watching right now, you folks are extremely important and very, very valuable. You don't get as much of this, if any, on the commercial side of many television channels in the world. It's all about airtime and producing revenue from airtime. We count on the viewer, those who are like-minded in support of this kind of television ministry on behalf of Jesus, to help us. And I was amazed how remarkable and how supportive this audience is. in helping us meet our goals for growth, to get the word out. It's a passion. It's a passion on our end, but it's also a passion on the other end of that camera and those who watch, because they have been so wonderful, I've seen, in helping us grow and keeping us financially stable.
You know, on this earth, we have a choice. We can let either evil win by doing nothing to shine the light to the world, or we work against evil by shining the light of the world and help to change this world. So God gave us choices on this earth. Let evil win if we let him win, or let God work win if we share God's work in mighty grace and love throughout the world. And that is your mission as it is our mission. And together we are changing the world, folks, reaching in over 50 million homes a day. What an opportunity to witness for the Lord. We are, in future weeks, Daryl will talk to us more about our growth in distribution, how we're going to expand our reach so we can even capture more households and homes where we can share Jesus. We're talking doubling or tripling those numbers. And of course, not to forget the building. That's why we're outdoor, because although you don't see it in the background, we're sitting in an area where the area we lease, it's just to my right, and something we're going to replace by building the new building in the near future, so we can centralize our operation, but also to strengthen our efforts and our resources to broadcast better programs and more effective programming at a higher quality for LLBN, from LLBN Studios. Marlon?
You are us, and thank you for your support.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you again for joining us. Marlon?
Oh, it's really nice to have Bob on the team, to fill a vacuum in that area. So thank you for coming and sharing your talents with us. Well, it's time for a new building update. Adam, what's been going on since the last report you gave us last week?
Well, Marlon, we have community leaders partnering with us to have conversations and discussions with the city of Loma Linda. That is a process we have to go through. The city of Loma Linda is very kind and supportive to the community in all aspects of its footprint, and we expect nothing but the best will come out. This is going to be a little bit of process to get the blueprints put together, architects, engineers, city officials, city development plan to come together and agree on what it takes to build a good building. But we're moving forward. There's no turning back anymore. We're projecting 14 to 16 months we should complete our project, which is just in that time we lose our lease where we are leasing from today, and it'll be the perfect opportunity to merge, centralize, and gear up ourselves for the next 50 years. If the Lord hasn't come by then, I'll be very surprised. But we shouldn't be surprised. We have to continue the work. We have to continue marching forward until He comes on His own time.
Amen.
Well, all this takes your participation, your financial participation, and Jay is here to tell us how you can do that. Jay?
Yes, none of this would be possible, of course, without you, and none of the future plans we have are going to be possible without you, without the Lord's leading in your life, in your heart, and helping us to continue to do what the Lord leads us and inspires us to do. And this building plan that Ganem is talking about is a new and an important part of this passion we have to expand the ministry of LLBN. I'm going to keep my section short because I know you guys, we don't have a lot of time, but one thing my father said to me when I was really young, he said, "Son, a failure to plan is really just a plan. A failure to plan is really just a plan to fail." And it's so true in the area of estate planning. So I want to keep this short, but folks, if you haven't done something in the area of estate planning, please contact me today. Don't leave this up to the state. It won't be what you want it to be. And I'll pass it back to Ganem.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. Of course, today they can contact you because it'd be the Sabbath day, but we won't be there. But anytime during the week, Jay is there 5-6 days a week, Sunday through Friday, pretty much. He's done an incredible job for the ministry of LLBN by bringing a whole new level of partnership with us. So is Bob, and so is Marlon, and so is all of you. Together, we shall. What's our motto? Anyone knows?
Lives.
Lighting lives,
Blessing nations.
Blessing nations. That's what LLBN stands for. Marlon?
All out of time. See you next time on LLBN.